full story of what happened, and all that. Yeah, super excited.
hmm
Good to meet you. So your name's Harvey, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Justin's
And
having
Andrew.
Wi yeah, Andrew. Justin's having Wi-Fi issues today, so it'll be us. And yeah, I got some stuff to kind of add to the fun later. But
hmm
we'll definitely I want to hear definitely your whole story and all that stuff. So it'll be fun. So
Okay.
I'll get
I
this.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go
No,
ahead.
no, no, no. You're good.
Oh, I kind of wrote some stuff down and changed it a little bit to make it more suitable for like what you guys talk about. Um, so I have a little like bit of writing to go through just about the general tech bro.
Yeah,
Should we start?
cool. Yeah, yeah, we'll get going. It sounds good to
Okay.
me. 1 second, I'll get everything in line. I think we're set. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to 6G Agenda. I'm your host, Andrew. I'm here alone today, but I have a nice special guest, Bag Lady. She is, if you don't remember, we could call her insider slash whistleblower with a little bit of the tech bro kind of backstory, kind of the background stuff that goes on. So Justin's having a little tech issues today, so we're going to be hanging out and getting going on that and get your full story. So for those who don't know, I did get a DM from you. You've listened to the show and you had some similar kind of outlooks on life and stuff we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned a party with some people that were connected to Palantir that you got invited to and things like that. I did get to read some of that on the show, but I'm glad to have you here so I could get a full in depth kind of impression of what you had go
Mm-hmm.
on. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm Harvey, and I started working at Facebook when I was about 18. I had dropped out of high school. Never thought I'd get a job at Facebook, but I think they really liked the fact that I had dropped out of high school, um, and start like saw me as a pretty good worker bee. Um, and I just got really involved in the tech scene, and I hated it because my my world was like a lot of like punks and skateboarders and like graffiti writers and stuff like that. So I didn't really know how to communicate with these people, but I was excited to figure out what their deal was. And yeah, it just became a huge part of my life. And um, I was very grateful for the fact that I knew how to communicate with these people because they're like aliens to me. Um, but
So
we'll go to the
what was your
Palin.
role? What was your role to start off at Facebook?
I was so I like worked in decorating, I guess you would call it, where I just
Mhm.
like decorated, got couches. I got they would like come to me and say, "Well, I want to get this desk." And we would do it. So I wasn't a part of the software engineering or anything like that, but I worked in different buildings. For a while, I worked in the Oculus building at Classic. That was really crazy. But it's all like an open floor plan. So like you're just together all the time, no matter what. Very
Mhm.
little privacy. Yeah.
What's the culture like there as far as so were there any weird like seminars, kind of maybe meditation seminars, anything like that?
When I first came for my interview, I walked by the Move Fast and Break Things mural, and I remember having a visceral feeling about like not liking that phrase. And I asked someone about it, and they were like, "Oh, it's just about like creativity and playfulness." And something in me still did not like it. But they have a lot of very like cultish behavior. They have stickers of Mark Zuckerberg like on their water bottle and on their like everyone.
Okay, so
And
like
I
almost like a yeah, cult of worship kind of thing with the head CEO kind of king
Mhm.
kind of atmosphere going on.
Yeah, I thought that was very weird at first, and then I still think it's weird, but they really normalized that. It was very much a heroism of Mark Zuckerberg. And slowly it became more cutthroat because I came in when they were hiring a ton of people. And over the 4 years I was there, people were starting to get cut. The genocide in Myanmar was happening. And then the Cambridge Analytica scandal happened.
Oh yeah, the
And
big
it,
one.
yeah, it got really, really messy and very stressful for a lot of people. And I was happy to just be on the outside. I talked a lot of shit though. And because I was like, how are people still working here? Like, how am I still working here?
Mhm.
When you know what this company does, and I felt a lot of shame. Um,
So how
and
much
I
would you say that the layperson knew? Did the most people know that, like, it was kinda sus, or was it just to them, they're just coding, making social media, trying to bring people together? Like, what was their kinda mentality as far as that goes?
I think at first they start off being really like optimistic, optimistic like they want to get involved in connecting people, and then very quickly they see that that is not the purpose. There are some of them that are still believe that, but most of the ones that take a second to think about it know that their job is about creating the perfect algorithm to, I believe, create the perfect mass manipulation um,
And
machine.
addict them,
And
yeah.
yeah, and just a thing that really supports consumerism.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, but there are a lot of people that are still in tech, that are still working at the big companies that really rely on just denial, or again, like heroism. And a lot of the people that are still stuck there are people that are very, very bad at looking inward, um, very bad at trying to connect actions from consequences, um, very bad at being just mature people. It's definitely a life of like denial and cutthroat, dog eat dog kind of world. And then it's survival. They really,
Mhm.
like, a lot of people are just in a cycle of survival, and the only way that you can really survive in that world is if you are really you turn your feelings off.
Ah. Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
funny because, yeah, if they walk by a motto every day, a slogan that says "Move fast and break shit," essentially, it's just don't worry about the consequences, just go as fast as you can, right to what you wanna do.
Hmm.
Which makes sense. Yeah, of course, they're not gonna be reflective people or so yeah, that's wild. So, what led you so I guess you left there, I guess I would imagine around the Cambridge Analytica, around that era, right? Is that
Hmm.
what you had said? Okay, and then,
Yes, yeah.
how did you come into contact with people from Palantir?
So I'm pretty involved in the techno scene. I really, really love I love music. I love working shows. And in San Francisco, that is, it's a hotbed of techno activity. And it's also where the like new recruits and stuff will just like show up to show that they really have no idea about, they're just trying to like party after work. So I just found myself around tech people all the time, and I was talking to them. I would act very like interested in what they had to say. For a while, I was like super interested in hearing about crypto, which was a nightmare. um, and then when AI kind of entered the conversation, that was like a interesting mix-up. Um, but I was at a show, and I was meeting up with a friend of a friend of a friend sort of situation, who had an extra ticket, and their friend worked at Palantir. And I remember um, my friend like offered them a joint, and they said no, thank you. I'm trying to get clearance this week, and I was
Oh,
like, my ears pricked up. I was like, oh shit, okay. And I just like cozied up next to him and asked him so many questions. really trying to stay like seeming like a normal person that's just curious. And he told me about I knew that that week Palantir had gotten a bunch of contracts with the government. So that's how I came. I was like, maybe he works for Palantir. And then later on in the night, he told me that. And he told me about the test, like the really weird questions that are asked.
Do you
Um,
remember any of them?
yeah, one of them was, how many drugs have you done, and will you do them again? Which that one seemed like obvious one.
Will you
Um,
do them again?
yeah, because like everyone's, I don't know, everyone's gonna do drugs, and uh, but there was one that was like, would you uh, like who would you save in a kind of like the trolley problem? Who would you save in a situation where like a baby is freezing to death outside and then like there's a woman screaming and the house is on fire? I don't remember the exact wording, but it was just very odd. And he was expressing
Huh.
that to me, how odd the questions were. Um,
Yeah.
and to me, that was like fascinating.
Yeah, it is
But
very.
yeah, and he ended up uh staying for a little bit. We'd asked more questions. He didn't really give that much away, but then he asked me to go to a party to meet his wife, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And then I ended up going. And it was it was in the Berkeley Hills. There were a lot of candles. It was very reminded me of like an A24 film. Um,
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like the only one there that was not involved in tech. And I just said that I worked at like venues. And I think that uh, that type of community really likes to like pluck interesting people out of the world, like, um, and just kind of have them be a jester and
Yeah, yeah.
bring them to a dinner party and like, oh, just like tell us stories and stuff like that. So
Yeah, tell me what it's like
I
to be a normal person who has to go through struggles, you know what I mean? Or things of
yeah.
that nature, right? Right? Tell me what it's
Hmm.
like to know what it's like to, not
Hmm.
have to struggle to buy eggs or something simple because yeah, it's funny, I actually just saw a
Hmm.
little video where Kim Kardashian said something like, "I just wanna know how much milk costs." I would like to
Oh my
know. She's
God,
like,
yeah.
she's expressing how she's upset that she doesn't know how much it
Hmm.
costs. I'm like, "That's insane." Just
Yeah.
the dissonance there, and, it's just wild to me, but anyway, yeah.
Hmm. I was always kind of like I grew up like pretty poor. And then I lived in like just shitty punk houses for so long. And I was open about that. And I think they really liked that. And I think they
Mm,
really liked that I hadn't gone to college and that I had like an alternative lifestyle. And I think they thought I was kind of cool. And that's really important to them, is being seen as cool by people that they think are cool.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, it was very odd. They talked about Gideon, they
Really?
openly, which I was not expecting. They
Yeah, that's
talked
been a
about it in a
very it's
very
funny because 'cause they've only talked about that one time, and it's been really
Mhm,
hard, like, no articles have been published besides the one about, Aaron Cohen going on to, I
mhm,
believe Fox it was, but other than that, they've been super hush about it. You can't look up the company and really, like, find much about it. It's very weird that even that
mhm,
this guy obviously would even talk about it means that either he's really cued in or it's bigger than we think.
mhm. They also talked about Flock, which I knew more about Flock in that
Yeah.
moment. I Because they were about to put a bunch of cameras in Oakland. And we had successfully like fought against that. Uh and now they're trying again actually right now. But they talked
It's
about it
okay.
in a
All the
way that
ring pardon me, I don't wanna interrupt. All the Ring cameras though,
Mhm.
they do flock now. They I don't know if you know that, but yeah, the new Ring
Mhm.
camera, like, deal where now they're gonna be scanning faces and having a flock connected to it. So, yep, it,
Mhm.
doesn't matter anymore, I guess, because that's universal.
I'm like looking for the outfits that you can get like t-shirts that like fuck with the Ring camera, and you can get like sunglasses and stuff. But I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
thinking like, do I just have to wear a mask like everywhere I go? The hair kind of stands out though. So um but yeah, they talked about it very openly, and it was as if no one had ever presented them with a counter argument, and they really thought that this was just very good for the world. And I didn't want to stand out at that time. I just asked them about like, well, what do you think about mass surveillance and things like that? Because they also had a very like Ayn Randian like outlook on life. And
Explain, how so?
so Ayn Rand wrote like Atlas Shrugged, and it was very. They talked about things like it was like evolution was happening, and we can't stop it. And I slowly realized that evolution to them is like um the best of the best living on, and the worst of the worst, the homeless people, drug addicts dying. And at another party,
This is Curtis Yarvin right here that I'm hearing,
yeah,
and Peter Thiel is very close with Curtis Yarvin, practically his
yeah,
mentor. He just loves his philosophies, and, that is exactly what brought tears to my eyes whenever I read Patchwork. Whenever I
mm-hmm,
read the part of it where he mentions, turning the underclass into diesel fuel for the trolley buses, and then saying, "Obviously, that's a joke," and
mm-hmm,
then saying, "We could just virtualize them in a cocoon, though, and they could have a seemingly happy life."
mm-hmm,
That's wild to me, just to look at human life in that kinda sense, knowing exactly that, like, there's a very small few people that they look at that shouldn't be in that kinda scenario,
mm-hmm,
you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very like disgusting to me, and I knew that there were bad people in the world, but slowly realizing that there are really bad people around me, and really bad people that are in charge of the software and infrastructure that our daily lives are based around and are feeding us content constantly. Um, it really was, I felt very vindicated, but
Mhm.
it was bittersweet.
Welcome to the club.
That, yeah, yeah. When I first heard about Curtis Yarvin, I had known about him when I was like, when he first released like um, under Mensch's mold bug. And I was like really young though. I was like 16 or something. And
Oh, you were early in it.
yeah, I learned about Peter Thiel when I was 16, and I'm a
Wow.
really big fan of journalism. I love the history of journalism. I'm obsessed with researching things. I don't like make money off of this. I just really like to do it. But I watched this documentary that was about Peter Thiel's war with Gawker, and how he took down Gawker by funding Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against them, and just
Wow.
putting a ton of money into Hulk Hogan's lawsuit, like an unreasonable amount of money. And
And what was Gawker? What was the
slowly,
lawsuit about?
Gawker was it was kind of like a Vice before Vice. They did a lot of like tabloid stuff, but they also did a lot of really good reporting that they broke a lot of stories. And they had this like funny oh, what was it? It was called like Peter Thiel is totally gay, bro. And it was that was like the title of this article. And as soon as they published that, he like went to war with them.
Wow,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, you should really look into that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It shows the level of obsession and power that they need to inflict upon others. Um, I like feel like I would be so embarrassed if I was that obsessed with something that years I took to just destroy a company that just wrote something bad about me. I would feel so pathetic.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
he's in good company with Alex Karp, you know? I mean, him talking
okay,
about, fentanyl-laced urine and drones
urine
is I love bringing that up because it's just who says that in,
in
like,
front of
just
people.
yeah, yeah, out in
Yeah.
the open. It's just
Hmm.
that's next level, like, what is he saying behind closed doors is what
Hmm.
immediately comes to my head, is what is he hiding if that's what he says outwardly?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I like that to me really shows the level of maturity in these tech accelerationists and tech optimists. Like they uh and you can see it with like Elon Musk, you can see it with X and the Elon fanboys. And it's just this very they try and act really calm, cool, and collected, but if you say something they don't like, they will explode or they will plot for years to destroy you. And that to me is just very like, like meditate, bro. Like please,
Mhm.
like chill out. But yeah, their whole deal is to inflict power upon others and rise to the top. That is really their life's work.
Oh, yeah.
Their obsession with wealth too, like wealth addiction is a very powerful factor in how they view the world, how they treat others and treat themselves.
Yeah, what did you experience any, conversations where they brought that up? And then we'll move on to, the OpenAI, connection you had recently.
Okay. Um, I think like the thing with wealth addiction, they don't even know that it's really just a power addiction. They're not keeping track of the wealth that they have, I don't think. They just want more, 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 and will do anything to get it. The like experiences that I've had with a lot of like tech bros, and I see bros, but I just mean like men, women, everyone.
Mhm.
Um, they they never think about the consequences of their like competitive side. It's really openly dog eat dog. And it's also just like constantly making fun of your coworkers in a really, really dark way. Do you know
Yeah.
about Blind?
I do not, yeah, tell me about that, but I did wanna say, it makes sense that these tech companies connected to the military would look for psychopaths, very, very
Hmm.
intelligent psychopaths, and it's gonna
Hmm.
come out in all those ways, and they'll do it in a way where you're like, "Wow, I can't believe you're saying this," like, you know, as if it's okay to say, and it's
Hmm.
because of the psychopathy aspect of it, and, yeah,
The,
that's wild. So,
yeah.
real quick, this guy that was getting security clearance, so you went over and met his wife, hung out, and,
Hmm.
to the candlelit party, uh,
Hmm.
did he express, like, what he did there, or what was his activities, like, at Palantir?
He just worked in AI.
Okay,
That's all. Yeah. And
and
I really
Blind, what
wanted
is
to get.
Blind?
Oh, Blind it's an app. You should really download it. It's crazy. It's kind of like Reddit, but you're anonymous, and it is mostly people in the tech sector, and they just go
Mm,
on and talk shit about their bosses, their like really it's really evil stuff. And you can see just like where they work and where they're located. And it is like they openly talk about rape. They talk about like killing H-1Bs. There's a deep hatred of like Indians right now that's really really dark.
Oh, yeah, because of
And then
that
yeah,
competitive aspect in the workplace, and then you have half of them being imported in from India. I could see
hmm
that.
yeah. And it's really hard to see like someone based out of San Francisco, like right around me, that is calling for the death of like immigrants and calling for I just like the way that they treat women is very, very scary. It's kind of like 4chan.
Yeah.
But yeah, for tech bros.
Yeah, I do worry, about this, there's this thing that's kinda seems to be happening where I've been kinda thinking about this. Um, I don't know if it's attached to this tech, like whatever's emerging, but I would imagine with what you're saying, maybe it is. But so I see these videos from like Iran, for instance, from 1970s, where women were dressed similar to like how you are now, right? Like just like normal dress, like not wearing hijab, any crazy stuff, right?
hmm
And then they talk about how I guess after that Sharia law came in and everything else.
hmm
And now you see kind of this over traditionalism from the pendulum swinging
hmm
back and forth. It's either a demoralization of the whole culture that you live in. And then
hmm
the other side is over traditionalized to the point of control through religion or some kind of worship of something.
hmm
And between the two of them, you end up worshiping something either way. And it kind of works out to the power controllers no matter which way it goes. And what I
hmm
worry about is like this Handmaid's Tale style kind of emergence of this right wing kind of, because I agree with a lot of traditional values, but at the same time, I think that there is this level that's being pushed where it's right over the edge of what I probably would call a boundary. And
hmm
so, yeah, I just think that there's this emergence of that. Do you see that? Do you think is there something
I think
there?
that the manosphere or the Andrew Tate sort of
Male
uh
feminist.
yeah, the ideal it really is like oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's I think that what happened was like there was the Me Too movement that really was good for a lot of people. It was good like for people needed to get some stuff out and people really needed to feel safe to go after men that were in power. But then it went a little too far. And then suddenly people were calling out people that hadn't done anything, things like that. But that's always how it is. There's always going
Mhm.
to be reaction. And that was the thing that that made the pendulum swing back. And I remember just seeing it. I remember seeing, I mean, now like with there was cancel culture and now it's like the right is they're canceling and
Oh yeah. It
you can
warranted it
definitely
warranted
see
the
it.
right to do what they've always done, which is censorship. The right
hmm
has always traditionally been kind of the arm of what you would call maybe the deep state, as well
hmm
as the left too, but, like, I just think that if you were to look at the Bush era, they were the same, you know what I mean? And I grew up in that kinda era, so I do think of that, and then, HW as well, and then, even Reagan Democrat, I think Nixon and Reagan were one of them were a Republican, but all of them worked for the same kind of factions to an extent.
I
Maybe
think
Nixon
that
less than that.
Obama,
One more
like
time.
I agree with you. I think that Obama was very, very much a part of
Oh, yeah.
surveillance state of
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think like I kind of believe that it's all the same. They're all working towards the
I agree.
same yeah.
Obama and Trump are like a mirror of each other in my eyes. Like, when you
hmm
when you look at it and think about, like, when Obama became president, it was like, "That guy just he's got it, he can do no wrong. Listen to the guy talk, he's gonna run this shit. I'm not even gonna pay any more attention." And with Trump,
hmm
it's like, they added the savior aspect where it's like right now, they're using that same almost like they tested it. They're using that same kinda leverage on
hmm
10, and they're enacting this police state, surveillance state, digital ID kind of slow roll with these
hmm
tech companies who happen to switch over to the right last minute, which it wasn't last minute. He's working with them. He always has been.
hmm
And so we can look at it as last minute whenever in reality, he's just showing his true colors, and now he knows his
Hmm.
following is to the worship level of I do what I want.
Yeah, yeah. And tech has always been involved in, as I know you know, but tech has always been involved in the government. Tech has, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, there
Mhm.
were a lot of people that developed tech that were actually really cool in the like 90s, like the cypherpunks, and people that were actual like genuine libertarians, because now I think there's this different type of libertarian, that this techno libertarian that I really don't like, the Peter Thiels. But there were like ANCAPs, like anarchist capitalists, and it started with like Wired magazine, and
Mm.
they worked, and I don't know, they really hated big government and they really hated corporations. But then slowly as time went on, the government really hijacked this technology, which that is what the government does. It's what the government did with like hippies in the 60s, and they
Well, when you look at
hijacked
cybernetics,
movements.
cybernetics, what was the guy from he was real big in that, and he kind of I mean, he a lot of the Order of the Nine Angles style thinking, this, kinda
Hmm.
dark eugenics, like you were mentioning earlier that the
Hmm.
tech bros seem to espouse, that seems to permeate all these weird, like, arising, internet cults, like
Hmm.
764, Order of the Nine Angles. But then even when we look at, like, uh cybernetics, I mean, that was in the '90s, that's whenever they first kinda started that, I feel like, maybe even
Hmm.
the '80s, and that bleeds into the Order of the Nine Angles kinda thinking as well, and I believe even
Hmm.
some of the same kinda circling characters. And then you
Yeah.
even look at, like, recently, Amanda Knox has a picture with, like, the guy one of the guys from the Memphis 3,
Hmm.
Eccles, and they're, like,
Hmm.
friends. And then you're like, "Wait a minute, both these people got away with murder." And they're, like,
Yeah.
satanic or something, there's something with the Memphis 3
Hmm.
that was, like, satanic, so obviously they both so then
Hmm.
I'm like, "Whoa, this whole deep dive I gotta talk to William Ramsey about because he knows a lot about that, so I'm gonna get the expert
Hmm.
about that one." But I'm just like,
Oh
"Man,
yeah.
between all that, it seems like this has always been a part of it, especially when you look back to um, you know, the obvious Babylon workings with Jet Propulsion's
Hmm.
lab and Scientology. I think science in general has always been who they want to be the ruling class, right? And technology has kind of taken the place of it to an extent, but it
Hmm.
still is science, right? And the science
Yeah.
of humans, the science of genetics, the science of technology, all that goes together. And it is this scientific class of elites that believe in this Luciferian philosophy that seem to be
Hmm.
really at the core of it.
Worshiping themselves
Mhm.
really in a very like extreme way, and yeah, just spitting on the people below them. I think that's what separates a scientist from a fraud for me, is I think science is a really beautiful thing because they ask a question and they take what they get, and they don't try to create a narrative. And
Yep.
these people, they are all they're about is creating a narrative that fits uh, what they want to see in the future. And that's so like so dark,
Yeah,
and
it starts
so
with
because their
flattery.
narrative is,
It
yeah.
starts with flattery, this idea of like you are better. Right?
Mhm.
And you see that in every single, like Israel, right? Or like
Mhm.
anything else,
Oh,
you're better, you're above.
yeah.
You get
Mhm.
the warrant to do what you want, right? And so they're getting that same philosophy, and I believe that that is the core of it, this
Mhm.
self-worship, like you said, yeah.
Yeah, you see this in academia, which is where they all come from. Yeah, I mean, now with ChatGPT, like I find the flattery of it to be, oh my God, it makes my skin crawl.
Mhm.
But I know that these people in tech are using ChatGPT all the time. And I at first was really like worried about like this is like affecting everyone in different ways, that is really like something we can't tell unless it happens, and they just
Mhm.
released this very powerful technology upon the world without really doing proper testing, or I don't know, I think they never were going to do proper testing. They didn't really
Right.
care.
No.
Yeah, Yeah, and I see like people in tech starting to show the same signs of people that I've talked to that had like addictions to character AI or addictions to ChatGPT. And it really does start with the flattery, and it starts with like,
It does.
yeah, yeah,
That is
them.
that is the base of all mind control. At the
Mhm,
core of it, a lot of times it starts with a form of flattery, and it goes from there. And
mhm,
even like the CIA guy was talking about how, like, you can break somebody down in a conversation, and he said, one way you could do it is by being like, "Oh, are you always this open with people?" Because then
mhm,
that implies that you're being open, and then it makes you open up more. Like this idea of kind of just you're flattering them though by doing that, right? Like
mhm,
this kind of. Obviously, he followed it up or finished it out with like something that kind of like was flattery with it. So it wasn't just, "Oh,
mhm,
you're pretty open right now," but it was in a way where I was like, "Huh, that shit does work." And it is
mhm.
the core. I mean, yeah, as soon as I saw that, like anytime I used like AI for anything, I was like, "Okay, I that pisses me off." You know what I mean? Because now I know
Yeah.
you're insulting my intelligence right now is what you're doing.
Mhm.
And that'll
Yeah.
piss you off more than anything.
Yeah, it made me really mad as well. And then I was talking to a friend who I know likes to be complimented, and she's very smart. But I was like, "How do you feel about it?" She's like, "Oh, I love it." She hadn't even noticed that there was like sycophancy in it. And I was
Mm,
like, "This is so weird because this is someone that I find to be really, really intelligent and very tries to be very self-reflective and she didn't even notice. I'm like, if I think it takes a malleable mind, a
mhm.
particularly malleable mind, to be a tech worker, to be a consumer of tech, a successful consumer of tech. And it takes someone with a mind that they can just shape into whatever they want. I think the tech bros are definitely they're very smart in their specific field. And then other than that, they don't even want to know about the truth. They really keep everything very surface level. They love ChatGPT. They just love to be showered in praise.
Right. And it's funny about the intelligent aspect of it. There is a lot of very intelligent people that were taken by the left kind of cult mentality, right? And so the same kind of, I feel like what you're kind of talking to is something I read very recently where I'm gonna butcher it, but essentially it was saying how people are gonna be well educated as far as like standards go, going to school, through college,
Hmm.
university, but they will argue reality with you like the
Hmm.
grass is, purple, you know what I mean? Or like the
Hmm.
sky is green, and they will argue that with you, believing in what they're saying to a course. So what
Hmm.
they're saying is that like super intelligent, really can talk, like all those things could even, but they just are just sucked into some kind of, and I don't understand how it gets to that level. And I really
Hmm.
cannot remember where I read that, but it was like 2 days ago. And I'm gonna have to figure out where the hell sometimes I'll have like 4 documents or like things
Oh
I'm
yeah.
reading where I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, shit, which one was that?" I just
Hmm.
got,
No.
Tragedy and Hope, and it's like 2,000 pages. I'm like,
Hmm.
"This is gonna be another one of those, it's gonna take forever."
I just got Slouching Towards Utopia because
Mm,
I'm trying to learn a little bit more about like not the extremists. I want to hear a little bit from the center, and
mm,
it's very good, but it is so thick. And I don't know. I'm getting to that point where how do I fit more inside of my brain? Because I feel
right,
like I lose something every time I read something new. Um, yeah, I heard something about how within a week, I'm gonna butcher this, but within a week, like we see more like information, we take in more information than someone would have their entire life in like the 1800s.
I
And
believe it.
I believe it. I'm addicted to information and yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's the
Yeah, if you're a
best
person
addiction
who
to
thinks
have.
in especially if you're a person who thinks in concepts, like for
Hmm.
me, I don't really have that much of an imagery mind, like, I'll have picture slide kinda memories, whatever, but if I'm thinking about something, I'm, like, conceptual. a
Mhm.
conceptual thinker. And I was actually just reading the other day that, like, people that are it's called something like aphrodisiac, I don't know, something where you
Mhm.
don't see images as much, but you just think in concepts. But it was
Mhm.
talking about that and how just because their image part of their brain isn't working, like, a lot, they're actually working, like, a lot over here and just thinking in concepts, so it's, like, a whole different thought process that we've never studied before, this whole thing. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Man, that sounds a lot like how my brain works because I just don't have that imagery kinda mind." And I always wonder, like, how does your brain think versus how my brain thinks? Like, I mean, on the literal physiological level, what's it like? What's your experience whenever you think about a thing? Are you able to remember it? Like, what's your memory like? Like, I always wonder whenever I talk to people, anybody I talk to,
Mhm.
it's like a thought I always have is like, what that's like, because I know people that can tell a story to a T, it can recall a
Mhm.
movie, things like that, and I can't do that, but then I can recall information from, like, the abyss. It's coming from a
Mhm.
black place, like, I don't even know where it's coming so
Mhm.
and also I wanna get that kinda keep tabs on, like, I feel like, what are they doing to our heads? Because I know that this isn't a normal
Yeah.
level of thinking that I'm at. I should be a little bit above, like, as far
Mhm.
as, like, I should be able to remember and recall things better.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that reminds me of like how we react to a algorithm and how we react to like it feels like going on the internet feels like a choose your own adventure. And now like the way that I think, I feel like it's starting to match how I think. Um, my brain just feels like a choose your own adventure.
Mhm.
Um, I yeah, and my memory was getting pretty bad for a while because I wasn't like sleeping very well. So I've been trying to do stuff to work on my memory. I've been like writing notes on things and then like you can build uh a like house in your mind and you put the things you want to remember into like drawers and into picture frames. It's very
Really?
weird, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm
That's
just trying
funny.
to get
Everybody's
better
got
at
their own
that.
wild way. There's always a wild
Yeah.
way to do things. I remember there was, like, somebody who remembered every answer on a test, and the way they did it was, like, they picked somewhere they knew really well, right? So, like, their
Mhm.
neighborhood that they grew up in, and then they just like, went on a jog around and somehow connected that to their answers. So, like, every place they would pass, it was connected to an answer, like, the mailbox of this neighbor is this, and then that is this. I don't understand how somebody's
Yeah.
brain can work like that. There's some
Yeah.
wi that's my point, like, there's some wild shit the way people's brains kinda work,
Mhm.
and I just
Yeah.
think that there might be an endless amount of ways that it works, uh,
Mhm.
and then
There's
that
also
runs into,
like
like yeah, no, you're good.
there's also like just photographic memory, which
Yeah,
I find that crazy. I'm
right.
just like I'm so jealous, honestly.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's hard to keep track of if you're on the optimal level for you know what I mean? Because everybody's different,
Hmm.
so very
Yeah.
weird. Where is brain science, you know what I mean? I don't think it's as far as I mean, I know it's not very far, so I did have some things you talked about earlier, the AI kind of implications of what's going on now with, like, putting it in. I wanted to show a couple things. So there's this, there's this thing that happened in I think it was, Baltimore, where, of course, they say black okay, so there's a student handcuffed because this kid had a bag of chips in his pocket, and so
Mm-hmm.
the high school has an artificial detector that's like some kind of, AI camera, and so it
Where is this?
reviews
What
it re
city?
this was in Baltimore County,
Baltimore.
and so it reviews it and says, "Okay, this guy's got a gun." Cops come, put him in handcuffs, check it, he doesn't have a gun. So, pretty much traumatized this kid, this, like, high school age kid, because they think he has a gun because the AI sees chips in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
A Doritos bag. So this is the kind of, implications with stepping into a world where we kinda do just let AI do shit like this.
This is so common. This
Really?
is Yeah, okay, so I've been following this for a while because I was I wanted to learn more about Flock and fighting it like at City Hall and whatnot. And the amount of like people who have been arrested as like they track their license plate. The license plate is wrong. They will arrest a mother of like three. That was the last one I read about. And
Wow.
really, it's just like the flock camera is just not very. It's not um, very accurate. And
Yeah, I mean, it's a camera.
this yeah, this is what they're using also to kill Palestinians in
Oh, yeah.
Gaza. Like,
Yep.
yeah, and it's not very accurate, but they don't care. They don't
And Microsoft
Accuracy is not important to them.
yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's this idea of looking over your like always worried. You know, they want you
Hmm.
always just fucking knowing that the thumb is there and it's coming, it's pressing down. And you know, with the camera situation, I also had this, speaking of that, so in the UK, they're damaging all these cameras. Did you see that? And I
Hmm.
guess they're kind of putting a stop to some of these new developments as far as like smart cities and what are they calling it? They're calling it sustainable cities,
Oh yeah, there's one of those
low
sort of
emission
in
zone.
California.
Oh, where
Oh
at?
well. So uh, it's like 20 miles outside of San Francisco, and I know that Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel and like this I can't remember the name, but it's this uh libertarian company that wants to create a fully automated like smart city. And they were trying to buy up all this land outside of San Francisco or outside of Sacramento, sorry, for it. But then there were farmers that didn't want to sell their land. And they like mafia style uh, bullied them out. I think they're still in litigations about that. But
Really?
yeah, I don't think they're going through with it because people were pretty up in arms about it. But I mean,
Why
for good
wouldn't you be?
reason. Yeah. And that one was I remember talking to one of my tech sort of friends about that, and they were just like, "Oh my God, I can't wait for the world to be like this, to be like fully automated." And
Really?
I, yeah, and I was like, you could go to China and like a lot of Asia is really far ahead of us when it
Yeah.
comes
Oh,
to
yeah.
tech. And you like yeah, I just I don't get the mass surveillance aspect of it. It creeps me out. But I think they're just really in denial about how it will actually play out. There isn't a idealism about the way that their brain thinks that like, oh, nothing bad could ever happen to me, and not caring about the little people that get caught up in
Well, and they have this
it.
concept of like technology will do what it does, as if that
Hmm.
means that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I don't even does that just automatically imply a good thing? You know what I mean when you
That
say that? And then
yeah.
also it's like they don't understand that the people that they're working for because they're stroking their ego and obviously psychopathy aspect, they just don't understand that like that there's always been monarchies in our world. There's always been people vying for power and control, and we are the only I mean, I guess you could argue the Romans to an extent for a little bit, maybe with their constitution, maybe had a little bit of freedom, but not really. Mostly
Hmm.
free, fully free country that's been around for, I mean, less than a quarter century on the dot.
Hmm.
And I mean, as it is now, 100 years, 120 years, I mean, because if you think about it, we didn't like Louisiana Purchase and us like
Hmm.
crossing all the way over to the West. You're looking at like 1860, 1890s, like you're moving into the 1900s. So now we're talking Industrial Revolution times, early 1900s to right now, 100 years that we've had it how it is right now. And we are already looking at a possible ending to it in a full global
Hmm.
society. That's
Hmm.
insane to me. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
like one full, maybe two full lifetimes, but one full lifetime today if you were to just max it out. So one person, 100 years old, gets to see it be what it is all the way to the West. Damn near probably misses it out, but damn near almost got to see it lose itself. At least if they lived
Hmm.
in 9/11, they definitely saw the beginning of it. like the beginning of the change.
Yeah. That to me perfectly like a perfect example of their like recklessness of accelerationism and their love of that Randian philosophy of evolution is going to do its thing as well.
Mhm.
Evolution is tech to them.
It's like a let go,
That
let God almost.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like the the weak ones will fall and they will not reproduce. And it really does get into the eugenics of it all as well.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's a very wild, wild time to see people be comfortable coming out as someone that yeah thinks like, well, why don't we just kill all homeless people? Why don't we? I when I was at that party, someone said they mentioned like, well, do homeless people even want to live?
Whoa.
And yeah, and I was like, oh my
Wow.
God, because they were like, no, I'm asking genuinely. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I can tell you're asking
I was
genuinely.
I was in
Um,
California for a little while, and I met a guy. I'm sure you've had many experiences similar, but I just remember, like, it changed my paradigm of how I looked at the world. I was, like, 19, and I met a dude while I was in California for a little bit. I was at the beach or whatever, and I met this guy. He looked like Jesus, you know what I mean? Or at least how they say he looks, right?
mhm,
And, uh, and I was, like, talking to him. He's a cool guy. At one point, I mentioned something about I said the word homeless. He said, "I'm not homeless, brother. I'm home free." And there's just people
oh,
you know what I mean? Like, he was the
hmm
coolest, like, chillest, I mean, really kind of intelligent in a weird way, like, in a way
hmm
of, like, understanding. Like, he kind of
hmm
understood laws of nature, like, not nature, but, like, the universe, you know what I mean? Where
hmm
I got that over time, I kinda get it now, but, like, that dude probably has the next level because he's just relying on pure intuition of just the human self and
hmm
not chasing any ambitions. He's just living,
yeah,
and that
yeah.
opens up a different aspect of how your consciousness works, I think.
Yeah, I have a guy outside that lives across the street from me in a park, and he's the best. He walks me to BART all the time, and he will steal stuff from Whole Foods and like sell it to us on the cheap.
That's wild.
And
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I'm not
yeah,
arguing that, like, it's better to be homeless, but, like, for that particular guy in California on that beach that day,
hmm
his state of mind, definitely great if you
uh-huh,
can find that anywhere, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This guy, like, I'll ask him questions about what I should do, and he gives me advice. And I really, he's actually like a rock for me, even though I only see him like 10 minutes a day. Um, but he to me is, yeah, the opposite of the desperation of the tech bro and the uh, he's like just a very stable mind that can think clearly and is very calming. We need more calming presence in the world. And instead of just like over caffeinated, over like zinned um, hype bros that are
Yeah.
filling up our streets. Yeah.
Yeah, struggle can really bring a aspect of kinda thinking that you just don't get whenever like we talked about earlier, that, whenever they bring you around because they wanna hear about what it's like to go through, you know? Well, that's
hmm
almost the next level of that where it's like they've attained something that I mean, not every homeless person, and not every nomad even attains it, but, like, some nomads, some people that are homeless, they do attain this next level of, like, understanding through struggle.
hmm
It's funny because like, I do think in your life, people will come to you, in a weird way. So you mentioned how he's like your rock or whatever. I had a wild time, in my life whenever I was younger. I was a wild boy, and I was kinda
hmm
fucked up. And so I was going to work, and I was grabbing coffee. There was, like, a hotel that was connected to this restaurant. And I went and grabbed coffee, and I was, like, taking the bus down there, and every time I would take the bus back home, I, like, couldn't stop myself. I would always stop and, like, get high and do stupid shit, right?
hmm
Dumb kid.
Yeah.
And so this particular day, I just knew, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be strong enough to fucking do this today, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
hmm
I'm gonna end up stopping, whatever. And there's this guy that comes up to me, and he's like, looks at me, he's like, says something, and I didn't wear any kind of face, like I was just being regular, you know what I mean? I wasn't like obviously upset or anything. I was just chilling,
Mhm.
you know. It was just weird time for me though for this to happen. And he comes up and he's like,
Mhm.
"You're a warrior," and I was like, he's like, said something else, and I was like, "Okay," and it hit me on a level where I was like, damn, man, I kind of needed that. And I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. And I went to like find him and thank him, and he was like gone. And I was like, that
Mhm.
was such a weird experience for me. But what's odd about that is it stuck in my brain to a level where even today I'm a totally different person and totally changed life. And it's funny, I still think about that. And I think it had a bigger impact on me than I think, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It kind of because I can't recall that particular day if I got fucked up or not. You know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
know that I used that as an anchor as time went on
Mhm.
to, like, remember that, so and it's funny because like, my name I'm big
Mhm.
on, like, name meanings whenever I do conspiracies and shit.
Mhm.
Well, my name means warrior, like, Andrew does mean that, and so I just thought
Mhm.
that that was kind of funny that his wording itself
Mhm.
and then me being the type of person I am, it just was a perfect kinda thing.
I think the difference between a malleable mind of a tech bro is that something like that could happen to them and they would be like, "Oh, some crazy guy talked to me." And that would they
Mhm.
would forget it for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rest of their lives. And
Well, God talks to
yeah,
you, man. Yeah, God talks to you. You are not God, and that's what they don't understand, and He comes
mhm,
in weird ways, and God meaning whatever the fuck you look at it as, it doesn't matter, but it's just this creative power force that you have a spark of in you, you know what I mean? And that doesn't
mhm,
indicate that you are all of it, but it is a piece of you, and that's what matters, right? And
mhm.
that's the part to hone in on and
Yeah,
not invert it and make it, all about you. And that's what they
yeah,
do, and
yeah,
that's the problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
And
very grateful that I have a sense of like self-reflection, and because now I really see it happening all over the world, how there are people that just don't subscribe to that belief. And the last people I want in control of something like the algorithms that we use every day is someone that doesn't have any sense of self-reflection or
mhm,
and is very like anti-empathy and pro-apathy. The celebration of like apathy and looking at empathy like it's a weakness is so like pertinent. Um, and it's yeah,
1,000%.
I actually knew this guy. He had a Bitcoin job. I don't remember. It was like 2 years ago. And he was really like he had been very excited about Bitcoin because he was a libertarian that really thought that it was going to break us away from like the financial like control that the government had over us. And I remember telling him, I was like, hey, like good luck with that. The government hijacks everything that's worth anything. And uh we were talking later on and he was like, I had like slowly shared my beliefs with him. And he was like, it really frightens me to see my coworkers go down this road of like hatred of other people, hatred of anyone that gets in their way. And he said, I remember he said, like, I feel like we're going through a war of the pro empathy group and the psychopaths and the sociopaths. And I just that like stuck with me because I was like,
Mm,
we also talked about like the class war and I was like, whoa, like that really actually is a great way to put it
yeah,
because
yeah,
you have like the elite, like I feel like the elite like trains the lower classes to be
mhm,
as apathetic, anti-empathy
mhm,
as you can
yes,
so
and that's
that
what
you guys
Elon's
are all
doing.
fighting. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's what
yeah.
Elon's doing right now with the whole suicidal empathy. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Suicidal empathy everywhere, and here's the fucked up thing about all this, there's truth to it.
Mm,
There's always truth to it,
there
like, they're
is,
right to
yeah.
an extent, and just like they're
Mm-hmm.
right to an extent about the illegals, and they're right to an extent about a lot of things, but it's the extremist part that you don't expect to
Mhm.
be the answer when they do get their way, and that's the issue
Yeah.
that we're struggling with now, you know? I
Mhm.
did wanna, while we were on that, kind of close to the God mixed with technology, this techno Christ
Hmm.
crazy shit, I wanted to show you this. You're into EDM, right? Did you see this?
Uh, oh.
Go ahead. You're into EDM, right?
Um, I'm very particular. I'm into techno. But yes, I am. Yeah.
I'm not gonna play you a
Um,
song to see if you like it, don't worry. This was
mm,
in it's called The End of Genesis, which the name itself, at the pyramids of Giza, where the mystery schools were born.
mhm,
I mean, you could argue it was Babylon first, but for sure, historically, pyramids of Giza, crazy place to have
mhm,
this EDM festival where they had this. I can't play, I'm not gonna
mhm.
play it, but uh oh,
Oh, whoa. Is
okay.
that
So, it's just
that's not
this,
AI?
it's like breaking out of here, right? This robot or
Oh,
whatever,
okay,
this
okay. Yeah.
sentient, probably robot breaking into, like, our world, and the Genesis,
Mhm,
it kinda reminds me of, like, this idea of this rise to this synthetic life that they're pushing so hard to make happen, and
mhm.
the Genesis, that's just a crazy, crazy name, you know? I don't know. I just thought that was weird. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for reminding me about that because I have some thoughts. Remember when you like it was a couple episodes back you mentioned like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but all these guys are gay, right? And
Mhm.
I
Yeah, I
actually
forgot about that.
I think it goes a lot further than that. I think that they're disgusted by humanity, by having skin, by
Yes.
having any sort of sense of like they just want to optimize and like blood and flesh is weakness and steel is strength.
Mm,
And I think that like for a while they were going down this road of like okay, techno-libertarian utopian lifestyle, but I think pretty quickly I don't know, but I think they pivoted to more of a transhumanist like belief system, and they're really focusing on AI to because it's their last hope, you know, to like to live forever. Like they're so obsessed
mhm.
with living forever, and they're
Yeah.
so obsessed with like that. They know that they're. I hope they know they're on their way out. But like to be I think that's so embarrassing too. I think that is actually the weakness is not being able to accept life with the good and the bad,
Mhm.
with
The finite, and
struggles.
yeah, the finite, yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because they the same philosophy, they'll sit there and argue, "There is no good or bad, there is no white and black, you have to have both, this and that." Well, you
Hmm.
can't have life without death, buddy, and so are you
Yeah.
trying to tell me that then there's no such thing as life? In your own
Mhm.
philosophies, the way you speak, that wouldn't even make sense, so how can you you're it's a hypocritical kinda thing, it's the rules for me, thee, not for me kinda thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's just it's a way of deception and manipulation. That's really all it is.
They don't care about hypocrisy. When I realized that like hypocrisy does not matter to these people that I'm like fighting ideologically in my head, um,
Mhm,
it was a very freeing feeling because I was like, okay, now I don't have to like try to make this equation work because I always wanted to make it make sense. But they are happy to go against what they were saying yesterday and what they're saying today. It's really
mhm.
about how they feel when they wake up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that on some things, but probably not on existential things that have to do with other people's lives and, like,
Morality.
there's a value that they're lacking when it comes to the,
Hmm.
yeah. Very crazy.
Yeah. I'm
Man,
so
anything else?
like,
Go ahead, yeah.
oh, I'm so strict about my morals. And this has been something that has kind of plagued me my whole life. And you mentioned the empathy, suicidal empathy, and I used to have so much empathy it would like crush me. I remember crying when in high school in class when we read night about the Holocaust and getting mad at people for not crying,
Mhm.
or not, or, like, having any sort of emotion. I was like, you guys are like insane for
Yeah.
just being able to read through this.
Propaganda
Um,
goes deep, man, in
yeah,
this thing.
I mean, yeah. Uh, but yeah, they are like right to a certain extent about like
Oh, yeah.
how I really had to work on my empathy, on being able to get up in the morning and not be depressed constantly, and to find like fascination and being fascinated with these people that I really don't agree with ideologically, has been really, really helpful for my day-to-day life and my mental
Oh, yeah.
health.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely gotta keep a separation, I mean, one thing about Buddhist philosophy, I kinda said this in the
Mhm.
beginning, whenever I started the show, in the beginning whenever I started the show, I had deep concepts that I wasn't really able to establish verbally because I was new to this, uh, but now I'm, like, comfortable and whatever. So, in the
Mhm.
beginning, I kinda talked about, like, Buddhism and how I think that the freeing yourself of all attachments was kind of
Mm.
a cop out of to an extent. I do think that there is
Mhm.
something to it though. When it comes to material attachments, things like that, you definitely have to. And when it comes to over empathetic, right? You got to have some detachment, especially when it
Mhm.
comes to like what they point out is uh more of just not trying to control every aspect of your situation and not trying to
Mhm.
hold on so much. And what I was pointing out was that some people take that and go the nihilistic, apathetic
Mhm.
route where they're just like, I detach from everything. And that's kind of where we're at with this kind of mixture of new age philosophy with like all this other shit. It's turning into that, where
Mhm.
it's people aren't really they're missing the plot, you know what I mean? Same thing happened with transgender. I mean, it's the idea of masculine
Mhm.
and feminine principles of your mind. It's still Luciferian philosophy, but then of course they literalize the whole thing with the transgender movement and everything. Not to say that there's none that believe that, but if you look at the percentages, most people don't stay transitioned. You know what I mean? So it's a whole thing where there's like weird
Mhm.
statistics that there's a large amount that
Mhm.
they do regret it to an extent, things like that. But my
There's a
point is,
really yeah, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, my point is this literalization of philosophies goes on so much,
Mhm.
whether it's biblical or hermetic philosophies, it doesn't matter. It just
Mhm.
keeps happening where, yeah, I guess I get it. If you don't know it, you just are gonna fall for the literal version. It's again the
Mhm.
esoteric.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't talk about Peter Thiel and his Antichrist talk.
Yeah, yeah, definitely should. And I
Um
was gonna say the transgender leads to, transhuman. That's also another point I was gonna say. That's why they literalize it
mhm.
to get the transhuman aspect. I was gonna get yep, that was it.
I mean, yeah, like Peter Thiel talking about how he doesn't think that trans people go far enough.
Really?
And yeah, yeah, he said that.
Awesome.
Where like the interviewer asked him something about like, well, how do you feel about like trans people? And he just said, I don't think they go far enough.
Awesome.
I think that we should replace our bodies, pieces of our
Vindication
bodies
again.
with,
Yep.
dude, yeah. And I don't think he's ever met a trans person, honestly. But I think that like, oh, if only the people that support him in
Mhm,
in the red states and things like that actually listened to what he said. And that
mhm.
is why the malleable mind is very important.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
and
yeah.
also it reminds me so much of, like, when George H.W. Bush was asked if he's a Christian, and he said, "If you're asking if I've been born again, the answer is yes." And I love that because what they're doing is they're fucking with your head, and he's doing the
hmm
same thing where he's like, "I'm not even thinking about sex or gender. I'm saying they
hmm
haven't gone far enough because they haven't converted into a symbiotic cyborg that can, you just,
Yeah.
avert death, you know?
hmm
And that's, it's so funny because he's speaking on a different plane than the
hmm
person thinks, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's the malleable mind aspect. You're very right, very right.
It's it's crazy, like, you can see their mind loading a little bit, like, with, Sam Altman, he's
Mhm.
really bad at, like, speaking on the
Yes.
stage,
Does it
but you
too, Peter
can
Thiel.
yeah, yeah, and it's like they are trying to, like, I feel like they need better training. Like they need that politics training. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, they're just trying to find the perfect like combination of words to get out a semi-confusing sentence that is easily like molded by the media, and they can easily go both either way on a press release or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Oh, that's a fact, and it's really crazy, to say that if you want to regulate AI, you are the Antichrist. Well, how could that be
hmm
possible? Let's take that a step further. If AI is supposed to make us into Christ consciousness together, then anybody against AI would therefore be Antichrist because it's
hmm
all about Christ consciousness. Now, that again goes into the New Age kind of philosophy. I don't ascribe to that, and I don't believe that that's really what the divine spark in you really means. That you're going
hmm
to achieve some telepathic Christ consciousness without all beings on the earth because you ascend and all this shit. I think that that is all propaganda to get us to believe in what he's kind of bringing into now. And again, yeah, that's exactly what the Antichrist would say. It's wild.
Absolutely.
And they're killing
I don't think.
Palestinians too. So I can't really
hmm
believe you on anything Christ, anything related to Christ lessons, you know?
hmm I I from what I see, I don't see it working,
Right.
which I'm very thankful for. But I had a friend that was working at the club that he did his talk at. And
Really.
she like yeah, she made note of the people that were there. And she was just like, it was so many young black pilled men. And they didn't even like take it seriously. It was all very like it was like seeing a meme up there on stage.
Mm.
It was just kind of like, oh, we're just here for the experience. But a lot of people nowadays, they don't have true ideology. They're really like irony poisoned. And I think that the people that he's trying to get on board are people that'll say, oh yeah, I totally here with you for like
Yeah,
5 minutes. And then as soon
they're
as,
yes men. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and people that will fall for, people that will stand for nothing fall for everything. And
hmm
yeah, if you don't have, I'm not saying you should have so much of an ideology that you're cultish, but you should have a standing ground in your identity of understanding what your morals and principles are. And by having
hmm
none, that's like an atheist. That's worse than, being somebody who's just Luciferian, I feel like. I
hmm
mean, it's yeah.
That's order of nine angles shit is
Mhm.
like um yeah no the it because from that place you're able to someone into anything and
Yes,
to
exactly.
completely mold a new person to make them do things that they would have never done and yeah that's
With the right
really
incentive and the right verbiage and being cunning enough and
hmm
manipulative, and of course, we know the
hmm
philosophy behind it is the deceivers. So, of course,
hmm
yeah, it's gonna be, the case. And also, he was called the accuser, and, again, with the AI accusing the kid of having a gun on him whenever it was a bag of
hmm
chips. So, it makes sense that
yeah
these things are happening, the way they are. But, yeah, it's been great. This was an amazing, episode. Thank you so much on all the background. I'm really glad to have got you on here. We'll definitely you're gonna be our insider in the tech world. We'll have you on, and we'll see what else has been going on over in Silicon Valley.
hmm Yeah, I'll let you know if I go to any more conferences, things
Definitely,
like that.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
coming.
much.
Go ahead and give a shout out to everybody. Tell them thanks or bye or whatever. If they can find
Oh
you, they can
yeah.
follow you. I know you
Um,
said you do some journalist research, so if you share anything, let them know where they can
mhm.
find it.
You can find me at on Instagram at Bag Lady Scum. I don't really use it very much. I've pretty much stopped using the internet.
That's good.
But yeah, I don't know. I
That's
just
good.
can't take it anymore. I can't take like I can see the manipulation happening right in front of me, and it gets pretty old. But
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I'll set you backstage. Would you just wait 1 minute? All right, it's been another episode of 6G Agenda. Hope you guys enjoyed. We had an awesome behind the scenes look into what's going on in the tech world. This is crazy. I hope you all enjoyed that. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again with Justin next time. See you later.